How to identify and avoid problem guests. You will encounter a steep learning curve as a new host. One of the biggest challenges is trying to avoid, from the beginning, problem guests. The likelihood that you will get them eventually is almost certain. No amount of screening ever seems to be enough. However, the first few guests are the most crucial. In fact, with problem guests, read that, locals who want to party, you are most likely to encounter them in the first few months of your listing. Why? Because it is new, which they can quickly see by looking at your reviews or lack thereof. And they are banking on you being a new host who is too inexperienced to recognize the warning signs. It should go without saying that the use of your STR as a party house is not recommended. But just in case you need some clarification why, I have 4 huge reasons. Reason number 1. Most of the listing platforms will toss you off their sites if they found you to be intentionally hosting them. Even those who just screwed up and accepted the wrong folks are suspect. A listing platform will expect you, the host, to do some level of screening on your own. Reason number 2. It is a quick way to piss off your neighbors and local law enforcement. Reason number 3. Party house hosts open themselves up to lawsuits and even criminal charges should something happen during the party. Think accidental falls, fights, a fire, etc. It simply isn't worth it. Reason number 4. Party houses are the number 1 reason that Airbnb, VRBO, and other short-term rentals have a bad rap. Don't give the hotels industry, communities, and city leaders any additional ammunition against us. Now, I suspect that 99.9% or more of my readers have no intention of putting a party house in play. So let's talk about what we can do to avoid hosting parties of any kind. Close down for certain days. My husband often refers to me in jest as a thrifty, murderous soul. But he isn't far off. As the financial manager of the house and the mad genius behind our STR journey, I am intent on squeezing as much profit as possible from our STRs. I want them 100% occupied. Standing empty means that we are still paying for heating and cooling, maintenance and more, with zero funds flowing in. So it is a rare day that I will close voluntarily. That said, having experienced the stress of having guests over major party holidays, I can tell you it is absolutely worth it to shut down for the following days each year. 4th of July, Halloween, New Year's Eve. If you live in an area that is popular with the college kids during spring break and you don't want a drunken fistfight love fest going on, I recommend you figure out those dates and block them off on your calendars. If maintenance is needed, I try to schedule it in advance and shut down for the minimum time needed. I also shut down our STRs for 2 other days per year, but those are for our own parties, family-friendly events, which we often invite our neighbors to. No drunken fistfight love fest for us. We are family and kid-friendly, and I just want the opportunity to relax on my property without guests. Those 3 days listed above are definite party days for locals and are absolutely not worth risking my future income, the wrath of my neighbors, or my own elevated stress levels. Screen locals with a sharp eye. Locals are trouble more often than not. I remember when I started hosting, I saw them degraded plenty on the Facebook STR host groups and thought it was unfair. It was a lesson I had to learn for myself, obviously. Now that I have, I can say with confidence that at least 70% of locals are trouble that you do not want. Why 70%? Well, I've allowed locals and had decent, occasionally superb dealings with them. I accept them on a case-by-case basis at this point. I especially look at what they say and how they say it. At the time of the writing of this book, recent changes had removed the pre-booking message that Airbnb allowed me to automatically ask prior to booking. I basically would ask, "What brings you to Kansas City?" That has now been reinstated. This weeded out most of the locals looking to party. For a short time, those changes took that option away. However, after a guest had booked, you could still ask the question. If a guest responded in a way that concerned you, you would have the option to cancel the booking without penalty. Now that it's back, that's not so much of an issue. I advise that you set up a pre-booking message that asks a basic question. What brings you to Kansas City? What could I suggest to you in terms of local dining or activities? Chances are, a guest won't tell you, "I want to party down and trash the shit out of your place." Geez, wouldn't that be nice if they did? but words and phrases used give them away. Here are a couple that have been used on me. I live in the city, but I just want to chill for a night before heading out on vacation. My place doesn't have electricity, and I just need a place to stay for the night. I want to have a couple friends over, and my roommates aren't cool with that. I'm just looking for a chill place for a Friday night. The only one that you should consider is the second one. My place doesn't have electricity, and I just need a place to stay for the night. And even if you did, you would be wrong. That second one? Phew! Those were the two couples who moved their entire apartment in overnight, complete with 2 extra televisions, bric-a-brac. Heck, they even decorated. It took 3 hours to get them out past their checkout time, and they left their heroin kit behind in the rush. A recent guest was a fair to middling kind of guest. Here's what he said when submitting his request. Hi, Christine. We are not traveling. We are local and having work done at our home. It will be me, my wife, 12-year-old son, and our dog Bonnie. The place looks fantastic and cozy. My wife will love the tub. This was the guest who stayed for 2 days, and their dog ate 1 rug and scratched holes in another. They never responded to my request for damages, but Airbnb's air cover gave me compensation. Other than that, they left the house in fair condition. I would chalk this up to simply being a guest who is an irresponsible pet owner. That said, they received a poor review because they had allowed their dog to damage the property and then ignored my request to pay for damages. I have been lucky compared to some. This is nothing. A few $100s in replacement costs for a couple of carpets. Nothing crazy. Exercise caution, but don't be too cautious. It is a fine edge to walk, but in most cases use common sense. Then again, common sense is something that everyone needs, few have, and none think they lack. Benjamin Franklin. Next up, security cameras.